Um, but lovely to see you again, and welcome. And I'm excited to introduce you to the community and just to kind of give you the floor to allow others to get to know you better. I'm sure that you've seen a few of these in the past of how, I introduce our partners, but it's really just an informal way of giving the community an opportunity just to get a flavor of who you are, your energy, what you do, why you do it, stuff like that. So,
Amazing.
yeah, just a really, really light chat. Um, so I think if it's okay with you, the way I'd like to begin is just by asking you to share a bit about your own story. I know that you're someone who's worked in the corporate world for several years before transitioning to the light. So maybe you can just give us a bit of that context about your path, how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, definitely. So I was always quite spiritual growing up. Like even as a little girl, my mum always said I was not different, but I always kind of felt like a bit of a black sheep and just felt like I could read people on a deeper level, or it was just always questioning things like the deeper meaning to things. I am a textbook Gemini, so that's probably part of the reason as well. But yeah, just always kind of seeking a deeper meaning to life, and always felt that I had a gift. But I guess like a lot of us, we grow up, we go through our teen years, and life gets in the way, and we kind of close that off a bit. So I I still always dabbled, or I still always had one foot in the door, but never did I think I would go down a career path like this. But yeah, I dived into the corporate world after university and was there for about 7 years, and I loved it at the time, and I think it was definitely integral to my journey and my growth. And yeah, towards my last few years there, I just felt, I guess, like a lot of people, COVID just made me realize when I slowed down and kind of settled the corporate burnout and the fight, the autopilot that I was living in, I had a realization that I wasn't really kind of living my full potential in the corporate world. Not that there's obviously anything wrong with that, with working in the corporate world, but my soul just kind of craved something different, a little bit more freedom. I even when I was at work, was always on the weekends or outside of work hours doing astrology courses or tarot readings. Sometimes I would bring my tarot cards into the office at work, and everyone would line up, and I would do everyone's cards, and I just loved it. And there was always a little voice at the back of my mind that was like, you need to do this for a living. But of course I would always just override that and be like, how could I possibly do that? That's not going to happen. And then yeah, the last probably year that I was in my corporate job, that voice just got louder and louder, and yeah, I just couldn't ignore it. And I didn't really know kind of what I was going to do, but I just knew I wanted to do something in the healing kind of spiritual realm. So yeah, just kind of bit the bullet one day and resigned. Didn't even have any plans or anything, but I just, every time I meditated and kind of channeled my higher self, it just kept saying it's all going to work out, just kind of do it. So I almost just felt that push and just trusted it, went with my gut. And yeah, I again didn't know what kind of practitioner I would be, so I kind of just let the universe lead the way and decide. I just kind of set the intention that I was ready to kind of study and delve into any type of courses that would present themselves. So yeah, just left it to the universe, and then a few courses came through that were aligned exactly with timings and everything like that. So yeah, started that journey, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. And I did about 12 months of intense kind of study with kinesiology, Reiki, and then I still do courses all the time. I mean, if I could just study and do courses for the rest of my life, I would, but I realize I probably should start my business as well. When you love something so much, it doesn't feel like work course study. I've actually got a course today after this for 2 hours, and it's the highlight of my week. So yeah, I feel like I'll forever be just adding tools to the toolkit. But yeah, and then launched my business or started seeing clients properly, like paying clients, in March last year. And yeah, it's just kind of evolved from there. But yeah, it's been the most amazing journey, best thing I have ever done, and so fulfilling and rewarding.
Yeah, it's really incredible, right? When you your story, Sarah, reminds me a lot of my own. So I resonate deeply with you, just as somebody that was in the corporate world. You know, I worked in finance and private equity my whole career, and also had that voice in my ear, wherever it is, I don't know, but some type of nagging, some type of growing dissonance that was like imploring me to go into the unknown, to unplug from that matrix and that, you know, toxic jet stream of unconsciousness that I call corporate world. But again, also, you know, not to bash that in and of itself, but for me, that's how I was like experiencing it. And so, like you, I felt that need to just escape from, to unplug from that and just to go into the unknown, which I did as well. And it's also what led to this flowering and ultimately the birthing of Awakenpedia. Uh, but it's so incredibly enlivening, isn't it, when you lean in to that voice and you actually honor it and you heed it and you listen and you follow it,
Yeah.
and it's freeing because you're not the one that's in control. You know, you handed over control and now you're just listening and letting the universe guide you. And it really provides you with that sense of inexplicable protection, because you know that the universe has your back and is with you every step of the way.
Yeah, 100%. And it's such a moment where you just have to trust, like you have no other choice. And it's quite freeing for someone that's always been living in survival mode, and being quite a control freak. I just had to release all control. But, you know, I say this to my clients as well. If you've got that voice, it's there for a reason. And that's your guides, your angels, your higher self putting those thoughts into your head. And, you know, the more we ignore them, the louder they get, if that's what your soul's calling is. And I always just think, if you fully allow yourself to trust and surrender, you like it's a foolproof, like it's all going to work out. And even if you don't know how, and financially or anything like that, the universe always just moves mountains to make ways for it to work out for you, if you are kind of following that voice and that inner guide. And I know naturally society's conditioned us to fear the unknown, or, you know, fear, what if I don't have a plan, or that safety and security. But I found the minute I let go and leaned into my authenticity, the abundance, the opportunities, the insights, the downloads, like everything just flowed through. It's almost like I opened that portal that was so closed off for so long. So I know it's easier said than done, but I always try and remind my clients, like, if this is your calling in your heart and your soul and your gut, just don't worry about how it's going to happen. Just follow the guidance, and it'll lead you to the abundance.
Yeah, 1,000%, without a doubt. I can echo back everything that is said with utter and absolute certainty. And it's so hard to, for those who are yet to kind of lean into this or to kind of accept that, you know, it's obviously embraced with doubt and like, well, show me the proof. And it's like, oh, you got to walk the path yourself.
Yeah,
And then the proof will be experienced through you, right? You are the proof. You will become the proof.
exactly.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a bit about you know, the different modalities that you? I know you're kind of like a hybrid in terms of how you use varying modalities within your toolkit, from kinesiology to Reiki, intuitive, psychic, medium channeling, various things, right? So um, yeah, just if you could talk a bit about which of those do you say or see yourself perhaps being guided to most naturally, and how you kind of use them within your practice to facilitate healing for clients.
Yeah, definitely. So I remember when I first started, naturally the way we're conditioned is I was like, I need to label myself as this type of practitioner, because I'd look at all the other practitioners that I'd seen in my life and I was like, they've got a they're a label, they're one kind of thing. And I kept just getting these voices, and I saw a few practitioners, like healers myself, and they were like, the message that kept coming up was like, don't pigeonhole yourself, because this is going to it's going to lead you somewhere random. And like, the beauty of this industry is there are no labels, there are no rules. You can have, a million modalities in your toolbox and pull them out. So I tried to just keep an open mind and not fixate on one thing. But kinesiology was kind of one modality about 7 years ago that I started to really find so profound, just the changes that it had on my life, and the way it positively affected my spiritual awakening. So I thought I would start off with that, and then I'll see where it takes me. And I knew I wanted to do Reiki as well, just because I think they go really nicely, hand in hand. So I started with the kinesiology part. Did really love that. I didn't do so much the textbook kinesiology. I did a bit more of a, quote unquote woo-woo version, a bit of a spin-off course. So it goes a little bit deeper. It involves a bit more, just spiritual modalities that the typical kinesiology course didn't. So I started off with that. I did my energy healing, Reiki and Ashati, which basically Reiki works on the physical level of the aura, and then Ashati is a bit more of the emotional. So I started just kind of using those in my sessions, along with tarot cards as well, which is something I've just done since I was a child. So that felt quite natural to me. And I basically will just tailor my sessions to what my client needs intuitively. So I of course have a structure, and I have two different types of sessions. So I have an in-depth, which is kinesiology, energy healing, tarot cards, and then intuitive channeling. And that is about 2 hours. And then I have a standard session for those that want to kind of just dabble, or maybe they don't want to go so deep. I know when I see family and friends, sometimes they don't want to do a full in-depth session and open that, Pandora's box. So standard sessions are just a nice, light energy healing. And probably the most exciting part and fulfilling part for me was, I have always felt, intuitive, and I know we've all got psychic medium abilities if we all delved and dabbled into that. But as I was doing my studies and my channels were opening, and I was becoming more aligned and more grounded, I just found that whilst I was doing my Reiki and my energy healing, I was just getting like loads of messages from my clients, and I just thought, I'm just going to say them and see how it's received. So that was something that happened quite surprisingly, but the clients would be blown away. Like they would be thinking about something, and then I would say it, or they would have a song in their head, and I would repeat the song, or so it kind of started off like that, and they would leave kind of like really blown away and shocked, and so would I, and they would then come back because they just loved it. So that was always a really nice addition, because it was almost like they thought they were just coming for a light energy healing, and then I would end up telling predicting their future, or telling them something that had happened yesterday, or mentioning a family member that I had no idea about. So that's kind of been a part that I didn't expect, but has become a large part of my offering. And on top of that, the mediumship stuff as well. So again, I was channeling messages as I do my energy healing, and was getting would get names come through, or I would feel like an older lady in my presence, or a male or a child, and I again would just say it. I thought, I'm just gonna, what have I got to lose? If it doesn't resonate, it's okay. And 9 out of 10 times I would have someone be like, oh my gosh, my auntie just passed away 3 months ago, and that sounds like her. And then obviously I just went a bit deeper and asked what her name was, or a few details or evidence that it is her, and that would really resonate as well. And so that seeing the kind of the look on the client's face when they'd leave, and they just didn't expect what the information that I would share. So that's been a really, and I understand why I was always told to be open-minded with what kind of practitioner I would be, because I definitely didn't think it would go down that route. But that's been something, like a muscle that I've been trying to just nurture a little bit more, because I realize that that is one of the parts of my session that is so fulfilling and that I love, and just being able to deliver that information to someone, especially when they're grieving a loved one, is so fulfilling to me. So that's something that I add to my session. So whenever someone comes, if they don't have anyone to connect with, I'll just do more of a psychic intuitive channeling. If they do have someone to connect to, I'll call them in and feed the messages through. So that's a bit of, I know I do a little bit of everything, and then I of course finish with tarot cards, which always blow me away. I pull the cards in before the person enters the room, so there's no kind of preempted information. They're all pulled, and then they just blow me away every time. Like, the themes that come up in our session, we'll then finish off with the cards, and they just tie everything off so nicely, and they're just such a nice way to round off everything that we've gone through. So that's a little bit about my sessions. I've started dabbling into kind of shorter bite-sized experience. So if I can't fit in any more clients in that week or that month, I'll do phone sessions, so that I do little half an hour bite-sized phone calls, which is I was just in Byron Bay one day, and I did a meditation on the beach and got this strongest download, and it was just like, you have to do these 30-minute phone calls, because I couldn't fit as many clients as I was wanting to, and these phone calls just allowed me to, in between my clients, I could fit these in. And they're really great for people who maybe can't afford a bigger session at the moment, or they just want to dabble and get a taster of what it's all about, or they have like a question or a specific area of their life that they need guidance around. So the phone calls, I will just pull some cards and then do some intuitive channeling, so almost like a little reading with some cards as well. So they've been really well received, and a nice little addition that has just helped me reach more people in the busy schedule. So and again this year I'm just set the intention with the universe to just give me more ideas of how I can use my skills to touch more people and help more people. So looking forward to just seeing how that plays out as well.
And that's what led you to Awakenpedia.
Yeah, exactly. I told you that.
Yeah, exactly. I really love when you're able to bear such clear witness to the universe's ways of answering your calls, right? Through those intentions, however they may be answered. Usually they may not be as clear, right? Or like as direct. Sometimes it's a bit more of a puzzle, or just something you figure out later. You're able to see it through discernment retroactively. But it feels like this is a divine, well, it's all divine timing, but it seems like this was just a serendipitous moment in that way of kind of answering your intentions. And because that's what we are doing, right? And through our virtual retreats and just the different types of offerings we're providing, we feel like we're going to be able to provide those pathways for our partners to expand their reach and be able to offer their holistic services to more and more people around the whole world through these types of avenues. So it seems like it's just a perfect alignment in that way.
For sure. I remember saying to you, it was like the 11th of Jan, that manifestation portal, and I was writing down what I wanted to call in this year, and one of those was just to be able to reach more people and expand my opportunities. And then I think it was like a week later or a few days later, your message popped into my inbox. I thought, this must be a sign for sure.
Yeah. And one thing you mentioned that I thought it could be interesting just to comment a bit more on is how you actually facilitate, whether it's kinesiology or Reiki or, the intuitive psychic channeling. I want to touch on as well, but how you deliver these services virtually, if you can speak to just how you actually facilitate that, I think it would be helpful for us to hear.
Yeah, definitely. I did forget to mention that earlier. Virtually, it's such a blessing, isn't it? I'm able to see clients. Yeah, I do see some international clients at the moment, which is amazing as well. But I remember when I was seeing certain practitioners, kinesiology and Reiki, when I was younger, I would sometimes do virtual sessions myself if I couldn't make it or if the practitioner was in another state. So I firsthand experienced how powerful they were, just as powerful as when I was in session with the practitioner. So I always wanted to be able to offer that as well when I started becoming a practitioner. So the kinesiology is it's the exact same as what we do in person, but I will be a surrogate for your energy. So obviously if we were in person in a session, I would muscle test the arm of the client. But when I do it on myself, I just muscle test myself. But I set the intention that I'm surrogating your energy. So
Yeah.
I'm not reading myself, I'm reading the client. And yeah, I honestly, I think I have probably 50% of my sessions are online and 50% are in person. That's how kind of powerful the online,
Yeah.
that's how
Amazing.
very
It's
powerful the online ones are, that my clients, they keep coming back because they feel the exact same effects. So um, yeah, I feel really grateful for that. So yeah, the kinesiology, I will surrogate the energy. I'll just get my client to lay down somewhere comfortable and relax, which is also nice because they can just, be in the comfort of their own home if they're short for time or have kids or something like that. So, and then the Reiki, again, I, not so much surrogating, but I just set the intention that the energy, of course, travels through time and space. So I will just do my usual, start from the crown chakra, go down to the root, and my clients can feel the energy the same as when I have an in-person client and they're on the table. So that's amazing. I can feel their energy too. They can smell if I'm using essential oils or Palo Santo or cleansing. Sometimes they can smell it in their room as well, which is always so magical and amazing. So um, yeah, that's pretty much the online is, yeah, they're just as powerful. I feel like my online client base is growing, or yeah, just as strongly as my in person. So that's been amazing. I'm from Western Australia originally, so it allows me to see all my family and friends and community in WA as well, and doesn't just confine me to New South Wales. So yeah, it's been amazing.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, really important, I think, to emphasize how this type of work we're doing, energy work, it is not bound by
Mhm.
geography. I mean, the nature of what we're dealing with is within the quantum space, right? Which is beyond space and time. And and so I think it's really important to emphasize this because so many people who perhaps aren't as in tune would question the ability and the effectiveness to facilitate these types of services over online with these mediums. But the truth of the matter is that we are dealing with nonlinear timelines that like is in a quantum reality. And if you look into quantum physics, quantum entanglement, you can see that something that happens at this point of space and time has the ability to affect this over here at this point in space and time. And so it just shows that like what we're doing in dealing with here is very real, but it's just beyond the mind. It's beyond comprehension, right? And
Exactly.
so it really requires the necessity of whoever you're working with to trust and to surrender, because if they keep that wall up and they don't actually give you that sense of permission,
Mhm.
it's just going to lead to a less effective, right, a less intensive experience for them. And so I wanted to emphasize that point.
For sure. And I can always tell the clients that we'll book an online session because they've been referred by a friend, and their friend is like, you must do it. And I can always tell they're a bit skeptical at first, but then, 5-10 minutes in, they're like, oh my God, my whole body's vibrating and I can, feel it's almost like I can feel the heaviness of your hands and the crystals on me. And that's always so special, just to kind of, um, yeah, change their mind about it and get them
Mm,
excited.
for sure. And the same with the channeling, as you
Hmm.
mentioned. And I had my own experience with this because I'm a channeled writer,
Yeah.
and all of the teachings on Awakenpedia are
Mhm.
channelings. And I fundamentally and fully agree with you about that. We all are channelers and have that capacity to be a channeler,
Mhm.
in the sense that all we have to do is really get out of our own
Mhm.
way. And once we can be be here now, so like we've exited the mind space and have come into connectedness with the heart, and we've cleared our own blockages so that the chakra system is in flow. And now we're actually able to have multidimensional connection, so that our spirit and then our mind and our body are working in union, right?
Yeah.
And that's when you're able to receive messages from beyond what you can immediately see in your sense perceived world, and you're able to have these incredible things happen that are otherwise described as miracles or magic. you know
Definitely. Yeah.
so yeah, and I feel like we're on our way in terms of the human being species, of coming into an era where so many of us are able to channel, and it's like secondhand nature. But it starts with this. It starts with people like us who are able to speak to this, to normalize it, to kind of ground it, bringing it into practicality,
Yeah.
and then it will become mainstream.
For sure. And I always, I like to say to my clients as well, because they can be like, wow, like, I can't believe you get all these messages, like, how cool. And I say to them, if you get an idea or a thought pop into your head, or, even something so silly as you're walking, you're like, oh my gosh, did I turn the iron off? Or I need to run back home and I forgot that thing. That's channeling to an extent, that's our guides, our higher self guiding us to, not make mistakes, or to get on a higher timeline or on a better path. So I say to them, you are channeling to a certain extent.
Mhm.
Mine is obviously just a bit more extreme. Everyone can channel. It's like saying everyone can run, but some people are, choose to be Olympic runners, and some people can, get tired after running a kilometer, around the park. So it's just one of those things. Yeah, we all have that ability, but some of us are just, on this earth to be the vessel for some deeper channeling.
Mm, yeah, yeah, really well said. It's so true. We all kind of experience, even if you're not kind of self-described as spiritual or in tune energetically, that you have those moments of the channeling happen to you. uh,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the same for presence and just enlightenment as a concept, but embodying that, which is to say, when you are free of mind and you're fully here and now, and you're not actually, you're seeing things as they are, not as you are. That's a glimpse of awakening, a glimpse of the enlightened state. Um, which is what Awakenpedia aims to facilitate at a more macro level in terms of the awakening of humanity. Um, but anyway, yeah. So it sounds like you are someone that is able to really, work with people, meet them where they are, develop customized solutions using a variety of modalities that, is able to help move people along their journey. And to me, that's the artistry of holistic healing. And it's what makes this such a beautiful and still very rare skill set, that people can authentically provide, right? A lot of people, unfortunately, in today's time, claim and make a lot of snake oil about this type stuff. But what really resonated with you when we first chatted was your authenticity, and that you speak from direct experience, and that's how you facilitate and work with your clients. So it's really just a blessing to have you with us on this journey. And um, even though you're all the way in Australia and I'm here in Virginia, United States, it's nice to have this international global community.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I love everything you're doing as well. And yeah, I will just say on that, I remember when I started seeing practitioners and delving a bit more into my spiritual journey years ago, the one thing that every practitioner just gave me was hope. And I think if you know, aside from everything that I offer in my sessions, I just love to give people hope, and they just leave a little bit more hopeful. And I also just like to say, I was doing a breathwork this morning, and this came into my mind of that I feel like I'm just a vessel to move them onto a higher timeline. That's kind of a statement that keeps coming through to me this year, because I'll often get feedback from my clients saying, "Oh my gosh, after our session, I got that job that I was thinking of, I was hoping for, or I met the love of my life, or everything seems to be working out now. Like, what did you do? Thank you for your like magic spells." And I just say, you know, I didn't do anything, just holding space for you to release and offload in a safe space is going to, you know, help move those blocks, those doubts, those limiting beliefs. We've shifted something in your subconscious, and that has just moved you onto a higher timeline, which is just, you know, you're now at a certain frequency that is, you're able to match that frequency of your dreams and your manifestation. So, you know, if you put it quite simply like that, just giving that hope, and with hope comes that higher vibration, and with that comes, you know, our dreams matching that vibration. So yeah, that's just something that came to me this morning, and I thought that sums it up really nicely.
It's so true, and it's actually it makes it kind of funny because it makes what we're doing almost the most simple job in the world. Simple thing, all because we're not doing it right. Everyone, you're your own healer, you're your own guru. We're holding the space, we're the frequency holders, providing the petri dish in which you can let go and evolve and heal yourself, and we're just being the teaching.
Exactly.
It's sorry about
That's,
that. We're just being the teaching, and we're just holding the space, holding the frequency, and that type of presence, the intensity of presence, if you're ready, can be the invitation to catalyze your own awakening, your own healing, and that's when you people are like, "What did you do?" And it's like, "No, you did it all. This
yeah,
is, you know,
exactly.
uh, yeah." Well, look, I think we're coming to a good time to kind of get ready to wrap this intro chat up. But I do like to ask, as a way to end it,
Mm-hmm.
um, if there's any type of guidance or wisdom or piece of insight that you would like to share with us in terms of, um, and you know, whatever's coming up in terms of in your heart, something perhaps that could have served you earlier in your path, maybe when you're in your corporate life, or just anything at all,
Yeah,
you know, that you feel kind of speak to.
yeah, definitely. I think when I was thinking about what I wanted to embody this year or cultivate, or just kind of my intentions for this year, it was really just focusing on, as humans, we're so programmed to reach for external validation or materialistic things, or just reach anywhere outside of us for fulfillment or happiness or peace or abundance, or I will feel better when I get this or do this. And it's, you know, we're constantly in that state of lack. Really, when we think we're focusing on abundance, we can be in that constant loop of lack. So something I really wanted to focus on this year, and I think it's a good little piece of advice, and it's come up a lot in my client sessions since we started 2024, is just that happiness, you know, that fulfillment and that empowerment needs to come from within first. Because if everything is taken away and stripped away, and we're just left with ourselves, you know, that, are you happy with that? Is, you know, can you sit with yourself and feel fulfilled within yourself? So instead of trying to control all of these outside outcomes, look inward and raise your own vibration, and that, you know, that changes your external reality. Instead of trying to change your external reality, to change your inner vibration and your inner state of being. So that's been something that, yeah, that's coming up quite a lot, and something I have to always keep reminding myself that, you know, true happiness and magnetism and empowerment comes from within first, and then everything else falls into place from there. So yeah, I think that's something that a lot of us can, you know, do with a gentle reminder of sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, awesome point. It's like that reversal of cause and effect, where you
Yeah,
know you are the cause of your reality, the world's the effect. Everyone, you know, in the victim mindset, the unconscious, unawakened state of being, um, you feel the world is the cause of your suffering, and that's what keeps you stuck, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, taking responsibility for your consciousness and really looking inwards as the causation of your life experience. Um, if you can just do that, that changes the game. You
Yeah,
know.
that's the answer to all. And I think as well, you know, it's amazing to have goals and things to work towards, but you often find, and this is with own experience, when you do reach that pinnacle that you're like, this is the peak of everything, you know, after a few minutes that dopamine drops and you're back to square one. And it's like, if that square one isn't built on empowerment and, you know, inner peace and just true love for yourself, then you're always just going to be chasing that next high and that next kind of goal, as we call it. But then yeah, it's almost like that grass is greener
Yeah.
syndrome. So I just think, yeah, the true magnetism and peace and just, yeah, alignment has to come from within first.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. It reminds me of that Alan Watts quote. He says the purpose of being alive is to be alive.
Yes, I saw you
And
posted that
yeah,
the other day, and I was like, that, yeah,
yeah,
so true.
that's what it is. You know, as long as you continue to find that your purpose and fulfillment through external validations and acquisitions, um, it's always short-lived, unsustainable, and never will actually satisfy you for long.
Yeah,
And so you'll always be the dog chasing its tail. There'll always be a bigger fish in the sea. The grass is always greener on the other
yeah.
side. And yeah, so this is you got to just accept who you are, where you are, how
Mm-hmm.
you are, the totality of what is,
Mm-hmm.
and can you find absolute peace and contentedness with the here and now for just being alive through awareness of our existence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
uh, well, I could geek out on this stuff all night, but
Me
I think this is a good place to wrap up. And thank you so much for the time, for being here, for joining our community, for being a part of this mission, for joining forces with us. It's a really exciting inflection point in humanity, and that this is just the beginning of this journey for all of us. And for everyone who tuned in, thank you. You can learn more about Sara and find her bio, booking links, discounts for Awakenpedia stuff, all of that in the member form. And yeah, thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. It was so nice to chat. Have a beautiful evening.
Okay, all right. Have a good day in the future.
Thank you.
Bye.